Well, hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Ending Physician Overwhelm. As always, I'm so glad you're here and sharing a moment of your day with me. Today, we're going to be focusing on that very thing, which is this sense of community and connection, and how that can really be an antidote to burnout. When you think about how you've been feeling during times of burnout, one of the characteristics that tends to pop up to the top of the list for most people is a deep sense of loneliness, despite usually being surrounded by people every day. Think about it. My guess is that if you step back and you take a look at your life, you see how many places you are a giver in relationship to other people. You give to your patients. You probably give to your spouse or partner if you have one. If you have children or pets, you give to them. Even though you do perhaps receive things from people, my guess is that your balance of giving and taking falls much more on the giving side. That is certainly true for all of the women physicians that I've ever coached, falling much more on the giving side and really recognizing that as part of the imbalance, and yet struggling to figure out, how do I take two? Um, when we think about our socialization, of course, think about your internal messaging about what's okay and what's not okay when it comes to taking. If you receive something, let's say a gift, a piece of advice, a piece of cake, do you have the sense of being indebted to somebody? Do you feel like you have to return the favor? Do you feel as though you receiving something is taking from someone else? This is a hallmark of people who struggle with people pleasing and perfectionism, because it adds to this internalized persona that we are the people who give. We are the people who have the knowledge and the expertise. We are the people who are excellent, expert problem solvers, right? But the dynamic flows downhill. It is in the form of giving. If you struggle with boundaries, think about it for just a minute. Boundaries require you taking something in some sense from someone else. If you are saying, no, I'm not going to join that committee for additional unpaid work, you are taking your knowledge and expertise and problem solving capabilities out of the group that they were hoping that you would be a part of and probably lead, right? If you say, no, I can't work that extra person in, that forces the person who is at the front desk or on the phone with the patient to, have to come up with some kind of explanation, or, to face the discomfort of making somebody else upset. So many of us struggle with being on the side of giving and giving until we are empty, right? And we struggle with the taking, because taking might feel selfish, it might feel wrong, it might feel vulnerable. This relates to the idea of community and connection, because, of course, when we are someone who is constantly more on the giving side, it is very easy for us to struggle with connection, again, even though we might be surrounded by people all day long. When you think about this dynamic in your own life, tell me who you feel connected to. And what does it take for that relationship to be balanced between giving and taking? Or maybe it's not balanced and you notice the imbalance and you want to make it better, but you don't know what to do. This has absolutely been a theme in my life. And again, it's something that I see over and over again in all of the women physicians that I coach and I work with and I talk to, because we've reached a point in our lives typically where we are painfully aware of the imbalance. We are lonely and isolated, feeling that we can't be vulnerable in front of other people, whether that's patients, staff, colleagues, our kids. What will people think of me? Comes bubbling up. And if you've struggled with imposter syndrome, with a feeling of, I don't know if I'm good enough, I don't know if I'm expert enough, I don't trust my skills and capabilities because maybe I don't look like what I think an expert should be, double down on that lack of connection. When Brene Brown talks about shame, she talks about how shame drives us as well to hide from others, right? To be really disconnected. And when we're struggling in burnout, so many people are really feeling a tremendous amount of shame of, I should be able to figure this out. Everyone else seems to be knowing what to do. I don't know why this is so hard for me. That triggers a lot of shame. And again, it furthers the isolation. So, long story short, just to say, if you're feeling isolated and disconnected, join the party, but the party who all thinks that they're by themselves. These feelings of isolation and loneliness are problematic for all humans. Yes, we all have different degrees to which we enjoy being around other people, but every one of us needs connection with other people. That is deeply, innately wired in us. And that need does not get satisfied when we are constantly giving to others and not receiving back. And again, I want to really highlight that the antidote here to this component of burnout is community. Tell me what community you have in your life and what it means to you. Now, for some of us, we might feel a strong, deep sense of community with our families, but not all of us. Some of us might be in social groups connected around some kind of hobby or sport, and we might feel connection, although we might be isolated there too. Similarly, if we're in a religious community, we might also feel of that. Although I would argue that I think for so many of us, because our identity as physicians is so internalized and so front of mind, that can still be, we can still feel isolated even when we're in a group because other people either perceive us differently for the work that we do, or perhaps we think of ourselves as, oh, I can't really relax, I can't really be myself because what will people think of me? I remember talking, this was probably 5 or 6 years ago, with a friend who was initially co-workers with my husband, and he and his wife have become are good friends, and we go out. And I remember him saying to me after we just hung out socially, I can't believe you're a doctor. And that was something I really struggled with. I don't think that I was being immature or too crazy, because let's face it, I'm not crazy, guys. But it really struck me, and I really noticed how that felt like a slam against my identity, even though he's never seen me at work, right? He is not in my exam room. He doesn't see how I operate. He doesn't see how I interact with patients or staff. And I'd like to think that I'm the same person everywhere that I go, but it really hit a nerve. And I think that's true for many of us, that again, we may feel some separation from other people because of how we've been socialized within the hierarchy of medicine, with the way that non-medical people perceive us, good or bad, right? It falls both ways for sure. But what is that doing to your innate sense of connection and community as a human being? We might strive to connect with others in a truly professional sense, right? Think about American Medical Women's Association. Think about various other professional organizations where you're connected by specialty. Think about colleagues that you work alongside. You may have a sense of connection with those folks, although for a lot of people, there will still be some set of a mask on, right? I need to appear in a certain way. I can't be the real me here because what would people think? Again, this contributes to our isolation if we are carrying that with us. And I'm not suggesting that we show up to conferences in our pajamas or anything like that. But what I'm saying is, do you have spaces where you can feel truly yourself and where you don't feel like there's this invisible hierarchy, where you can just be a part of a group and engage and get your needs met and contribute to the group in a collective, fun, supportive way? I didn't realize for a very long time how much I lacked this. Prior to my leaving my organization, which happened in 2021, I'd gone through a series of, what do we say? I don't know, sort of painful circumstances with losing a lot of connection to my family of origin, losing a lot of colleagues because we had a lot of people who left before I did for years and years. We were sort of hemorrhaging staff and providers, and that felt like a never-ending circus of people leaving in my personal life, people leaving in my professional life, and again, it sort of triggered, deep sense of loneliness. I think I also felt somewhat abandoned, which I don't love because there's kind of a victim-y component to that, but that's just what I felt. And going through burnout at that time, I didn't have the ideas that I have now about the importance of connection. So I would tune into my books, I would tune into journaling or things that I could do on my own. And that really wasn't the right answer either. All this to say that it is critically important for all of us as humans to feel strong connection in at least some of the places where we exist on a regular basis. Again, that might be communities that you already have, but it might be communities that you need to seek out. I've recently gone through a lot of changes within my coaching business, within my medical work. I'm in a phase of really up-leveling things. So I recently gave a talk at a large conference, which was something I hadn't done in a long time. I recently did a photo shoot, which felt very unnatural, but also wonderful. And in order to do those things, I really had to lean into my community. And I'm so grateful for that because I don't think I would be here and have done these things without that community. Having a safe space where I can show up and be vulnerable and ask questions and get my needs met, as well as supporting others who are doing the same thing. And it feels like a wonderful flow of give and take has made such a difference for me. For me, this space has been a coaching group that I have been a participant in for almost 3 years now, which you've heard me talk about before, which is Dr. Una's EntreMD Business School. It's so much more than a business school, though, because it's a very tightly connected group of women physicians, primarily, that we have a few male physicians in the group as well. And we meet weekly and tackle different issues that we are encountering in our businesses, in our work, as well as in our personal lives. How do we arrange things in our personal lives so that we get our needs met when we're not at work? How do we arrange things at our work so that we get our needs met and we can do our work? It's all connected, but this network of connected women and male physicians working together, supporting each other, and having a safe space to gather, I can't even put a value on that. And it really inspired me to set up my next coaching group, which you've heard me speak about, is called Unbound, Women Physicians Reclaiming Their Lives. And one of my goals is helping us to overcome burnout with connection, with community, because of the difference it has made in my life. When we have safe spaces to show up, when we have a supportive community who is around us and who celebrates with us and helps us overcome obstacles together, we are so incredibly capable of amazing things. And I don't even have the words to explain how that works, but I'm going to ask you to trust me on that. And so if you're here listening and you're a woman in medicine who is feeling disconnected, who is feeling lonely and isolated, and you hear in this description something that you're longing for deeply as part of healing, as part of figuring out, how do I help myself? I want to invite you to join us and sign up for Unbound, which is going to start on Sunday, December 1st. In this group, you're going to have a community. You're going to have connection. You are going to have a group of other women physicians right alongside you who are also trying to navigate, how do I help myself? How do I change the way that I think about myself, my work, in order to be able to feel better, in order to be able to show up on my own list, to know that I matter, and to let go of some of our long-standing beliefs about who we are, what we owe to other people, what things we can and can't do. I'd like to invite you to take the bold step and join us. I know that many people here listen weekly and feel connected to me because of the way that I talk about my lived experiences and the experiences of the women physicians that I coach and my colleagues and everything that I see. I know that because you reach out to me, which I appreciate so much, and you tell me I really needed to hear that. When people come and meet me for the first time, they often say, I feel like I know you really well because I've been listening to you talk every week for over a year now. That sense of community and connection can be yours at a much deeper level, but you have to decide to take the leap and decide for yourself, I need more of that. I want more of that. And now is going to be the time that I get it. I want you to have the community and the connection that you need to feel better. If you've been struggling with trying to figure out this whole burnout thing, if you've been sitting in silence, if you've been hiding in shame, as shame leads us to do, if you have been wondering, why can't I figure this out? Why does everybody else seem to be happy and okay? And I feel miserable and exhausted and overwhelmed. Why can't I figure out how to get my notes done more quickly? Why can't I figure out how to exercise? Stop asking yourself those questions and join us. I will show you how we are going to start to make changes, and we will do this together in community with the connection of a group of women physicians who are trying to do the same things in their lives. All right. I think that gives you a clear sense, but I do encourage you to reach out to me with questions. You can email me, and it comes to me, Megan at healthierforgood.com. You can reach me through my website as well. The links are in the show notes. Join us. Don't think about it anymore. Just join us. And if you have a friend that you know would benefit from doing this work, and you want the more immediate community and connection of knowing somebody, bring them along. I'm offering a special friend discount so that you can both get a reduced price, or what an amazing gift to give somebody by signing up for the buddy discount and gifting that to your friend. Obviously, that's a very generous gift. But think about the returns for you in doing this work with even more of a community and connection. Thus far, I'll tell you, the women who are already enrolled are doing this as buddies, and I'm so thrilled. I think the returns on this are just going to be phenomenal. We haven't done that before, but I'm so excited about it. So grab a friend, check out the link, send me an email if you have any questions. And until next week, think about the power of community and connection in your life and how much better that would feel. All right, my friends, take care.